You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. They are these things that makes it official. Welcome to the big show. For over 16 years and 2,400 episodes, we've been bringing the Chris Voss Show because, there's never enough people that can help you make your life better. I may not be one of them, but our wonderful guests are that always come on the show and do all the wonderful things, share with you their stories, their journeys, their lessons of life, all the things that they've learned and how they overcame them. And they come here to let you know you're not alone, and you can too be better. So I'm talking to that guy in the back over there, the one with the blue shirt. You need the most work to be better. Anyway, I don't know who I'm talking to. I can't see you because it's a podcast, folks. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing young lady on the show. We're going to be talking about her book and some insights and how you can make your life better. Her book is called The Secret Language of Your Body, The Essential Guide to Health and Wellness by Segal. She's going to join us on the show and talk about everything that she does to help people. She is a pioneering intuitive healer and the best-selling author of The Secret Language of Your Body. She has dedicated 2 decades to helping individuals unlock the secrets of their body's wisdom, facilitating profound healing in physical, emotional, and energetic levels. Through her transformative teachings and intuitive insights, she empowers people to reconnect with their inner guidance, fostering self-healing and personal transformation. Her work has touched countless lives, offering tools and practices that bridge the gap between mind, body, and spirit. We'll delve into her journey, explore the principles behind her healing approach, and discover how tuning into our body's innate intelligence can lead to lasting well-being. Welcome to the show, Ina. How are you?
I'm really good, Chris. How are you?
I am excellent, and I'm here to solve the mystery of the secret language of my body, which I'm pretty sure is in Swahili, and no one knows what it's saying. That or it's in ancient Sanskrit or something. So give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
So www.innersegal.com, and also the same www.innersegal.com/secret for the Secret Language of Your Body masterclass, which is free and goes through so much of my teachings and how to connect to the body, how to understand the Swahili language.
There you go. Mine mostly uses 4-letter. Mine usually uses 4-letter expletives at me most of the time, so I'm pretty aware of what it's always saying. It's like, the hell with you! You suck. Quit drinking that or eating that. So that burger. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside your book, The Secret Language of Your Body?
So the Secret Language of Your Body has 5 different sections, and it's about first understanding and connecting to the body. How can I start to create this connection with this language that I don't know through sensations, feelings, thoughts, understanding what's going on. And I guess I talk about how do you prepare? What do you do? And this is a very important section because so many people just don't do that and then kind of get into the book and don't understand what's going on. But then there's a whole section on all the different parts of the body and understanding what each part is saying, essentially, if it's not working, right? So how do we create challenges in a particular part of our body through how we think, feel, act, our various experiences in life, and also what can we do to change that? So unlike many other people, I actually give very specific processes and exercises that people can do. And then I also talk about diseases and what kind of thoughts, feelings, and experiences can cause a disease to occur in the body. And Then we go into color healing and understanding that, and also emotions and how different emotions impact you and what they can cause.
There you go. You talk in your book about the 10 basic principles for healing. Do you want to tease out maybe some of them?
Yes. So some of the principles are really about connecting to your body. So many of us are completely disconnected. We're in our heads, but we're actually in chaos. And
Mm,
so taking time to place your hands on a part of your body, breathe into it, and really just come back to yourself is one of the main principles. But then, you know, things that we already know, laughing, connecting to color. When people wear a particular color, they feel different. When people look at a particular color, they feel different. It's about breathing. So many of us breathe in a very shallow way when
mm,
we're stressed. So
mhm,
just taking a moment and breathing in a deeper way, eating healthy, obviously, basic things of eating, exercising, taking the time to really connect to oneself.
mm. There you go. And so that's one chick. And any others you want to tease out?
Say that again.
So that's one technique, correct?
Yeah,
Do you want to tease out maybe one or two more? People got to buy the
absolutely.
book to find all 10. So see what we do here. We tease you, and then you got to go buy the book to find out.
So I think that you can change your state very easily just by rubbing your hands together,
Mm,
um, taking a moment, imagining a color,
mhm,
and literally kind of breathing that color in or sending it into a part of your body. You
mm,
can also change your state by essentially connecting to any part of your body, breathing into it, and starting to ask questions. So when
mhm.
people kind of go, well, how do I start to access this? What's going on inside of myself? That's what we're actually talking about. What's
Mm,
happening within you? And rather than running to everybody else, how can I get a sense of that within myself? And it's so much about the questions you ask. So
ah,
asking questions like, how am I actually feeling? So it's quite basic that we start with. You know, if there was a thought pattern or a belief that was in this part of my body, what would it be?
hmm,
And where does it come from? Because most people, when they grow up, they're constantly absorbing and taking beliefs from the people around them, but they don't know that this is my mum worries all the time, so I worry. And by
mhm,
actually asking these questions, you can start to separate and go, what am I actually feeling?
mm,
What's mine, and what am I repeating from my family? And does this serve me, and can I let this go? Can I make change? Because one of the biggest principles of healing is taking responsibility
mhm,
and going. And when I say that, people go, oh, but I didn't create a disease in my body. And it's not about blame. It's saying, what can I do to change now that it's here?
mhm,
Can I, do I have to run to somebody else, or is there something I can do to change what's going on inside my body?
mm. There you go. And so tell us a little bit about your history, how you grew up. What were some of the things when you started becoming aware of this data and information, and how did that develop for you? And were there any sort of things that triggered that or made you search down this way to find healing?
Absolutely. So I live in Australia at the moment. I say at
Hmm.
the moment because who knows? But um, so I was born in Belarus, and
Hmm.
when I was 10, we immigrated to Australia, but I didn't know one word of English, so it was quite stressful for me coming here with my family.
Hmm.
And I really believe that our tension and stress causes issues, but obviously I grew up in a very mainstream family, so I had no idea. But what I found was from around the age of 9 or 10, I started having um, skin conditions like psoriasis coming up all over my
Hmm.
body. And then as I started to get a little bit older, I started getting really, really bad back pain,
Really?
especially in my lower back. And I also had these digestive issues where I'd end up in the hospital and nobody would know what to do.
Oh, wow.
And so my mom, of course, took me to every doctor you can imagine, and physio and chiropractor. And by the time I was 18 and I was actually studying professional writing, I found it very difficult to go to the lectures and to sit for hours because I was in pain and actually agony most of the time. I couldn't turn, I couldn't move. I found it very difficult to walk. Sometimes I would walk with my mom and we'd be crossing the road and I just couldn't walk. My body just would get completely stuck. And so when I was from about 18, I started taking it very seriously because I was in constant pain. And my skin was getting worse and worse as well, and very itchy and very uncomfortable. And so I was essentially going to see anybody that I could find. And at some point, I was seeing somebody 5 days a week.
Oh, wow.
I had this chiropractor that I was seeing weekly, and there was a day, and I think there is a moment where things change for people. And I was in agony. I couldn't move. I couldn't turn my body. I came into his office. It was a 5-minute drive. I was not in my body. It was that painful.
Wow.
And he actually came out of his office and was very calm, very chilled. And he looked at me and he said, "Your body's stuck, Ina." And I said to him, "Yes, I know this part. What are you going to do to help me?"
Yeah.
And there was silence for a moment, and he thought about it and he said, "Nothing." And I said, "What do you mean nothing?"
Well,
And he said, "Your body wants to be stuck." Those were his words. "Your body wants to be stuck. Go home." So this is my
really?
complete change of life, this moment. Yeah, he
Serious?
said that.
Wow.
Yeah. When I got to his office, I felt very depressed, by the way. On the way out,
Yeah.
I was enraged.
Yeah.
Like,
That'll fire you
how
up.
how could he say that? And as you were saying, to me, this thought of my body stuck, it has a language. It has a language. And it was literally like, I don't know this language. Maybe it's Swahili, maybe it's Japanese. I do not understand it. And so, but on the way home, I decided to take responsibility. Not that I knew what that meant, but I decided that I was going to heal myself. I was so sick of going to see different people. I um I was sick of being in pain all the time, and so I thought to myself, I'm going to go home and heal myself. I don't know how, but I had studied a lot of acting techniques. I really wanted to be an actress at the time, and we did meditation and we did breath work and we did connection and visualization. And so I thought to myself, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going home and I'm doing this. And so I just started by literally closing my eyes. I realized that I wasn't breathing, so I started breathing with the pain instead of holding my breath and trying to avoid the pain. And then, as I was saying earlier, I asked a question, and it was very strange in a way because I wasn't very spiritual at the time or anything like that. And my question was, is there something divine out there that can help me? And I had my eyes closed. I was also counting backwards from 30. And as I had my eyes closed, this gold ray of light, I could feel it, I could sense it, I could sense the warmth moving through my body. And I thought to myself, okay, weird, but something's happening. And I'm very skeptical by nature, so I don't just believe anything. And then I had a thought came to me that had never entered my head. I don't know where it came from. And the thought was, I wonder if I could see what's happening in my back. And at that moment, it was like the light switch went on, and like I had x-ray vision. I got scared, by the way, because I could see inflammation, really bad inflammation inside my back and how it was twisted and where it was twisted. And then I had this question, why? I'm so young. Why do I have this? And this is where things started shifting. I didn't know this, but I'm quite a visual person, and I started getting
Oh.
memories of childhood, of coming to Australia, of not knowing the language, of being bullied for
Mm.
not knowing the language, and all the tension or everything that I pushed away settled in my back. And
Wow.
as I was feeling it, I could sense it releasing. I could sense the tension moving. And
Mhm.
then as I acknowledged it, the next image showed up, which was of being in my family. There was a lot of conflict when I was growing up. A lot of people relate to that. You know, my parents found it very hard again to move to a new country. So there was a lot of uncertainty and anger and shouting in the house. So I didn't feel safe.
Wow.
And in there, again, there was tension and there was discomfort, and that started to let go and release. And very interestingly, in terms of my skin condition, there is my dad has it, my grandfather had it. So it's hereditary essentially, or ancestral. And so I actually also had an image which came up about my grandparents and the fact that they had gone through the war and there was lost a lot of family members, had a lot of trauma. And I
Mhm.
just let myself feel and kind of cry through some of this.
Oh, wow.
Um, and then I fell asleep and had the best sleep in years and years.
Wow.
And when I wake up, about 70% of the pain was gone. My spine was not twisted anymore.
Wow.
And for the next 2 weeks, I didn't actually get up too much out of bed. I was just, I was skeptical, but I was like, I'll just keep trialing this.
Mhm.
And by I think week 3, I had no more back pain. My skin was clear, which was really amazing. I've never had a skin issue come up, which is psoriasis.
Wow.
Again, it yeah, so it was amazing. I could eat more food and not be in pain.
Wow.
My levels of anxiety went down, and I just thought to myself, "Oh my God, something amazing has happened to me, and I want to know more about it. I want to learn more about this."
Wow. Well, that's pretty freaking amazing. You know, they say that we store sometimes trauma and issues in the body. And, we store it maybe in muscles or fat, or it's stored basically in the body. And then the other thing is a lot of people don't sometimes things happen to us in childhood that we block out because and I used to be suspect of it, but now after interviewing with lots of hundreds of psychologists we have on the show, it seems like what the brain does is if there's something overwhelming in trauma that we can't handle, especially at a very young age, because we're not developed enough to process it, we tend to block it out and hide it. And I think what you're talking about is it can hide in the body. And so then there kind of comes a time where we reach an age where these memories start coming back to us, or you unleash them like you were doing. And they're usually at a time where our brain goes, you know what, I think so and so can handle this now. I think they're kind of almost ready for it. And let's give this back to them and see if we can't get this resolved. It's kind of an interesting sort of dynamic that takes place there.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
I have worked with literally tens of thousands of people who've had so much pain, so many diseases,
Hmm.
and from everything from migraines that are there for years and years and don't go away, to depression, anxiety, to people who've had tumors and all sorts of so many diseases. And
Hmm.
what we find is when we start to trace back, and this is one of my questions to them: what happened when did it start? What
Hmm.
happened in, potentially at least a few years leading up to it? Was there a lot of stress? Was there trauma? What happened in your childhood? Was there
Hmm.
abuse? And 9 out of 10 people will have pretty huge traumas, difficulties, losses that they didn't process. that they
Mm.
kind of went, oh, somebody died, or I lost a lot of money, and I just had to keep going. I didn't really have the time to sit with it, to understand it, to let it go, to feel through it, and I just kept going. And when
Mm-hmm.
people just keep going, this grows. And of course, it's not just, I don't want to say it's just emotional, it's just the trauma. It's a combination of the fact that most of us don't eat the healthiest food, most of
Mm.
us don't sleep enough, stress constantly over and over again. And so, all of this in combination with the fact that we have unprocessed traumas grows.
Yeah. Yeah. And stores in our body. And so this is like, one of the things you help people do. You help them release it, get it out, and all that good stuff. One of the questions I was going to ask you about your book, let me see if I can pull it up here, is you talk about a list of ailments, physical ailments, and the secret language of those. And part of one of your other chapters is a guide to physical disorders and suggestion for healing. If I'm out there listening in the audience, and I maybe have some issues with something, can you give me some of the top ailments that you see people that come to you for help have, and and you're able to resolve and stuff?
It's hard to say top because it's literally anything and everything people
Is it
come
really?
for.
Wow, yeah.
So
It's a lot
but
of work
a
there.
lot a lot of people come with back pain because
Oh.
neck pain, back pain. A lot of people come with headaches, as I said before, shoulder issues, thyroid and throat issues, lung issues. So, having colds, or even, when it goes down into pneumonia and all sorts of other things. Um, Obviously, I have a lot of women who contact me around breast issues,
Hmm.
huge amount of people around digestive issues, and because they can't digest food, or so many people have allergies, um, reproductive issues. So again, prostate, or for men, or what's so many reproductive challenges for women, from over, ovarian challenges, to the womb, to not being able to get pregnant, to
Mm,
like literally everything you can pretty much imagine.
mm,
People, arthritis. A lot of people come and say they've had amazing results. I literally just got a testimonial from a man who was diagnosed with kidney disease, and
mm,
he said that he was, for about I think it was a year, that he was doing the process on the kidneys from the book, and his doctor actually said, there's no way you can turn around, progressive kidney disease. And he said, well, you know what, I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna do these meditations and these exercises every single day. And he actually sent me his test results, that within 6 months there was an improvement, and then
wow.
within, I think, 9 months he was almost up to the normal levels, and 12 months later
Hmm.
his kidneys are perfect.
Oh, wow. There you go.
So yeah, so it's really amazing when people start to do the work themselves. I get hundreds of messages, every month, to be
Hmm.
honest, from people saying, "Oh my God, I used your book, and this pain that I had has left my body, and I feel so much better, and I'm so much more connected. I know what I'm feeling. I, I changed how I'm living my life. I have more boundaries, because so many people don't have boundaries, and they just overgive, and then they get exhausted and get chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. So again,
Mm.
that's another one that people give me a lot of feedback about.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta, you gotta control those boundaries and stuff. So, and so when you work with people, tell us about how they work with you. I've got your website up here, and how do people get involved with what you do? Who qualifies? Is there only certain clients that you work with, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, anyone who's open-minded, essentially. So if somebody's open-minded and they want to take charge of their house, they want to, I guess, take back their power. Maybe they've gone down the medical system and it just hasn't worked for them. I
Mm-hmm.
have so many nurses, so many doctors that come to me um, at this point, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and they want to awaken something within themselves. They know that they can. So it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
awakening that healer, that person within themselves, and they're willing to do some work on themselves. So they're willing to take anywhere from 10 minutes a day to half an hour and practice very specific processes in connection to their own health. And so the best way is through actually online courses. So
Mm-hmm.
based on my book, The Secret Language of the Body, I have a course that people can participate in and essentially understand both how to use the book better, but also how to awaken their body, how to receive messages from every part of their body,
Mm-hmm.
how to release trauma and stuck emotions from the past and work with them, how to connect to their heart, how to ground themselves, essentially how to work with their nervous system, which is also super, super important.
Mm-hmm.
And so if people are interested in me guiding them, then the best way to start is actually from my free masterclass, where I already give you a lot of insights and a process that you can do for free. And
Mm-hmm.
it's www.innersegal.com/secret.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to my website, innersegal.com, there's a lot of freebies and I guess things to understand, or you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, innersegal/author,
Mm-hmm.
and connect, get involved.
There you go. Now I see on your website you've got a free master class. Do you want to tell us about that?
Absolutely. So there's several on different
Uh-huh.
topics, but the one that I think people should start with really is the secret language of your body, which is
Mm-hmm.
the one that I've been saying in innersegal.com/secret. And in this masterclass, I talk about what causes you to have pain in the body and how you can start to work with your body to change that, to release pain, where it's stored, how it's stored. I also talk about all the different parts of the body and what they're actually saying to you. How can you start to understand that your body's giving you messages about your life? So essentially, it's a reflection of what's happening in your life is being stored inside your body. And by changing how you live your life, things change in your body, but also by connecting to your body and understanding it, you start to live in a different way. You start to treat yourself and other people differently. So I go through this masterclass and I talk about, what kind of thought patterns and feelings and ideas may be stored in experiences, may be stored in your eyes, your thyroid, your throat, your shoulders, your arms, your chest, your digestive system, your legs. Why do you have pain there?
Mm-hmm.
And I also give you a process on how to release it emotionally. I talk about how you can, the questions you can ask, how you can connect to your body, through touch, through breath, through movement,
Mm-hmm.
we through visualization. So you want to use every part of yourself. And again, so many people have told me just from watching the free masterclass, they already feel better, or they've released pain, or they can sleep better, or so many people have said their shoulder pain or their neck pain, because these are the most common. The back pain has released within, the next day. They just feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth doing. It's, 2 hours of your time to
Yeah.
connect to yourself and discover more about who you are.
Yeah. You definitely want to, clean out some of these things. I mean, this is a great way to do it. It's amazing how much we store all of this stuff inside, and it just kind of festers, I suppose. I don't know, when it comes down to it. But and then
And it
on,
creates diseases.
yeah.
And so the idea is, especially as we get older, like when we're young, we kind of go, oh, I'm good, everything's going to be fine. But as you get older,
Mm-hmm.
more and more issues start to come up. And essentially, what I'm saying is when you take charge, you have the power to change things, and you can connect to your body and understand it on a daily basis.
Yep. There you go. Now, some of the other things you have on your website that you do offer some courses. Looks like maybe 3 different courses. Is that different than the master class or the same?
No, absolutely different. So the courses are, they're longer. They
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of processes inside of them. So there's a few different ones that I offer. There's the secret language of your body, which is the best one to start with if you're new to this work,
Mm-hmm.
because I literally guide you through everything, give you lots of exercises, help you to understand what to do, how to do it, and essentially give you, a healing practice to do. And then there are people who have already done a lot of work on themselves. They're very familiar, but they want to go deeper. They kind of want to understand more about themselves. They want to awaken their spiritual self. They want to help other people as well, like their
Mm-hmm.
family members. And this is where I teach 10-day course called Awaken the Healer Within. And the feedback that I get is, oh my God, you actually do that. And the incredible healing results, they're literally mind-blowing that people have had. I mean, I've had people regrow their bones from this course. Like,
Wow.
I have one student who's transformed her tumor, well, actually not one, many,
Wow.
like just completely changed their lives, sometimes, often changed their work,
Wow.
and become so excited and want to help others with that. So that's kind of like, if you are very serious and you've done some work already and you want to dive deep, that's a great course. And then I've talked about childhood, so I have a course that is very in-depth, that actually goes through all the through your childhood, but all the developmental stages. Because one of the things that many psychologists have discovered, and many people that I've worked with, is that each developmental stage, if it's not, if your parents, and none of us had perfect parents, if they didn't give you what you needed,
Mm-hmm.
you can become stunted and stuck, and then create, so many addictions come from lack of love, lack of support in teenage years or childhood and understanding. And so addictions becomes a way that people kind of substitute what wasn't given to them when they were younger. And it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating, going through the childhood traumas, abuses, and transforming them, and essentially reparenting yourself completely changes your relationships, your life, how, if you are a parent, how you parent, how how you feel about yourself, self-confidence, self-love. And depression and anxiety is one of the biggest issues that come from our earlier years, and then accumulate and become huge problems as we get older.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And that's just the things that can help us, things that can improve our lives, et cetera, et cetera. Anything that we haven't covered that we need to talk about and tease out to people?
I think the biggest thing that people need to understand is that you have the power to change pretty much anything in your life
Mm-hmm.
if you know how, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need guidance. You have the power to change your health if
Mm-hmm.
you are guided properly on how to, reconnect with your body, how to determine what's actually going on, and then have the tools to start to shift that and change that. And anybody who's open-minded can do that,
Mm-hmm.
but people need to understand that it does take patience and it can take time. It's not instant. And for me, I really believe in foundational healing, and that things can definitely take time to understand. And as you said earlier on, we have to be strong enough to look at certain things. We have to be strong enough to look at trauma and not fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very, very important. And at the same time, we can also, it's really fascinating how our bodies talk to us and tell us about our finance, for example. So back pain can, and hip area can tell you that, you know, you're worrying too much, you're struggling too much with financial stresses and situations, and shoulders. And so we can start to go, well, I have the power to also start to think differently, feel differently, take actions based on, I have so many clients and friends who've worked on this childhood traumas and now have incredible jobs that they just could not imagine themselves having amazing careers, having money in their life. So it's fascinating how literally everything can be transformed. Your relationships with your family, with your children, with your partner, what you create in your life, the different opportunities. So it's very exciting. I want people to get excited about the fact that, you know, your ability to change your life is in your own hands, and it's very accessible, and it can also be fun. It's not
Yeah.
always really heavy and difficult. And however, it is a practice. It's not instant. It's not magic. It's not somebody else doing it for you. You can do this yourself, and you can create a practice from the morning, from the moment how you wake up. I don't know if you know that most people lose 70% of their energy in the 10 seconds, in the first 10 seconds of waking up, because they're going into negativity. They're going into what's not going to work, how it's not going to work in my life, my stresses. And if they were to have the right meditation, for example, have the right way to start to think and feel, they would have vitality, they would feel amazing, they would look for opportunities, even in the challenges. Every challenge has wisdom and can be transformed if we know how to.
There you go. Well, definitely inspiring and motivating and educational on how we can do better with and as ourselves. So thank you very much for coming on the show. Give us your .coms as we go out so people can find you on the interwebs.
So innersegal.com
Mhm.
or innersegal, so www. Obviously, innersegal.com/secret to watch the secret language of your body masterclass and to start this journey. The hardest step for most people is step one. If you start, things start to move and change, and it becomes very, very exciting. Or if you want to find me on Facebook or Instagram, it's innersegal/author.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, thank you very much, Ina, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thanks, Monas, for tuning in. Order per book wherever fine books are sold and reach out to her on our website. The book is entitled The Secret Language of Your Body, The Essential Guide to Health and Wellness. Thanks, Monas, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss One, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the net. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.